All right, guys, welcome back to the show. So glad you guys could join us. We've done something a little different this week. We did a little NBA on one episode, and now we're going to talk a lot of NFL on this episode. So, in that regard, I'd like to say hello to my co-host here, the crying Raiders fan who has been upset since the Tuck rule became a thing. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well, man. More Raiders news this morning, man. They're going to release one of our wide receivers that can't seem to stay healthy. But hey, man, we're going to talk NFL today, not for long league, and we'll just kind of
not for long.
not for long, and we'll kind of figure things out. And man, what a big week, man! The Super Bowl, and I'm just going to be I'm going to throw this out there, man. I was totally shocked the day after because I would have thought that somebody made a killing off the Super Bowl because nobody saw the Tampa Bay Bucks winning and going probably above the spread. And then the news the next day, all over the news was Sports World was like the books made a killing this year off the Super Bowl.
Because everybody bet the Chiefs.
Everybody bet the Chiefs. And I was a betting man on the Chiefs too. You and I were talking about it. There was, I will say this, there was this small voice inside of me that said, go against the grain. It's been in my voice all season long, from fantasy football the moment we started to the draft to who I was picking in the picks. And I can tell you that the 2020-21 season, I went against that voice every single time, and I lost every single time.
Listen to your gut, man. Listen to your gut. Yeah, I will say that everybody I talked to, except for like two people, were picking the Chiefs big. Because I even asked a guy Sunday morning. I was talking to him, and we were having a conversation. And I was like, "Who do you think's going to win tonight?" He's like, "Chiefs." I said, "Why do you think that?" And he said, "Well, Brady and the Bucks have to do everything perfectly to win, and Patrick Mahomes doesn't." But then we saw the end result of that game. Where you know what it reminded me of? Honest to God. Do you remember the year my Patriots were undefeated going into the Super Bowl, and they run up against the Giants, and the Giants went at them only with the front four, and they were getting pressure with the front four, which meant that Brady couldn't throw it to Moss. Brady couldn't throw it to Welker. He couldn't get the ball out fast enough because he was under that much pressure. That is exactly what Patrick Mahomes looked like the entire game, where they were only rushing four. They weren't bringing heat. They were running too high safety the entire time. They were putting help over the top for Tyreek Hill, help over to, they were almost doubling Travis Kelce. And once they did that, the Chiefs made no adjustments whatsoever. When they talked about how their protection, so their 5-man front, their offensive line, they ran just a 5-man front 92% of the time, of the game. That's how little they did to even throw a tight end, throw Kelce in there, just to chip Shaq Barrett from getting in there. Just for a second, just nudge him before you go out on your route, chip him, give Patrick that much more time, and they did not make an adjustment. Now, I will say, knowing that there is a situation going on with Andy Reid's son, Britt, I have not heard anything about that poor child. I really hope that child is doing well, that the child comes out of this okay. That's not a cool situation. So I don't know if that played into just Andy's mindset during that game, if he just wasn't fully there. Because if that's the truth, I can fully understand it. But the Bucks defense just flat out outplayed, outcoached everything. Todd Bowles looked like a genius, and Andy Reid looked lost, and that doesn't usually happen. So we should have laid an actual bet down, but we don't gamble like that. Our bets are usually just talking junk to each other or somebody buying lunch. That's the extent of it.
And kudos to Tom Brady. Kudos to them. You and I were texting throughout the game, and it was a tight ends game. It was Gronk and the Kelce show. But I will say this: I think 9 times out of 10 the Chiefs win. I do. I think that was the one time that you saw it kind of happen. It was the perfect storybook ending for this year. I get it, but I don't think I don't think it was as much about I was about to say the Patriots, the Bucks. The Bucks, they played good. I won't take away from that, but as much as it was about the Chiefs, just didn't show up and they had a bad game.
I agree with that, but I really think that the Bucks put together a really good defense. The speed that they have with Devin White, Levante David. They took Travis Kelce out of the game.
But it's a that it's a bad game for you when for the defense when the offensive guy runs the wrong route and still catches a touchdown.
Yeah.
Antonio Brown, like I mean, that was the talk.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Brown runs the wrong route and still caught the touchdown pass, and that just I think it goes to the Hall of Fame status of Tom Brady. I mean, he is a great quarterback, and I no, I don't think it puts to bed the whole debate between him and Belichick. Belichick is a Hall of Fame coach. I think what we saw the last several years was he just didn't have the pieces around him, and New England wasn't willing to go out there and invest. They tried it.
Well,
It
they've
worked for a
gone
couple
all
of
in
seasons.
already.
Yeah. So,
Well,
but no,
Belichick
yeah.
Belichick has proven how you build a roster. You don't invest every single penny in one position. You try to spread it out. You try to get key player. You pay for key positions and key players, and you try to get people around that work. And it had not worked in the last couple of years. Belichick has missed on numerous draft picks, and they paid for it. And the reason we looked so bad this year is because we brought in a running back, tried to put him at quarterback. Should never have done that. Should have just gone ahead and tanked for Trevor Lawrence, but we won't lose. I'm not bitter,
I
but
don't know.
my personal opinion, it does put to rest who the greatest NFL player of all time is. Anybody
All
can say
time?
all time,
All time?
all time. If I need to say it for the people in the back, I will say it again because I want to hear who's better. If you got a person who you think is better, please express it to me because I want to. You know what the difference between Tom and King James is? Tom was willing to take pay cuts in order to maintain the team's personnel and keep them looking really good for many years. That's how they were able to win 6 in his basically almost 20 years in New England. He
Yeah.
was willing to take a pay cut. He was willing to not get paid as much as Aaron Rodgers and all these other guys. He was willing to stay, 10 to 20 million less than everybody else to bring in good players. Did they do that last year for him? No. They tried and they failed. But that's why he's the best, man. He's willing to do whatever it takes physically, mentally for the team. I mean, he is the best. If anybody has a better quarterback, I would love to hear it. Because if you're going to try to throw Peyton Manning at me, sure. Peyton was fantastic. He was an unbelievable regular season quarterback. Unbelievable regular season quarterback. But he and Breeze both can put up all the stats they want, but they can't compare rings. They can't compare MVPs. I mean, it's just not even a question.
I just would. I don't know that I would say he's the best of all time. I think he's up there. I would go to the likes of
Who
a guy like Joe Montana, these guys like that,
Why? Why?
because for
There
me,
was no free agency.
it
That
was a different league.
it was a yes, it was a different league. There was no free agency. Once you got a guy, you had that guy. Do you know how they got Jerry Rice? They hid the tapes on him. Bill Walsh was a freaking genius. So how is it that Joe Montana gets a pass because he had Belichick, but Joe Montana doesn't? How is that Tom Brady gets a pass?
I'm saying to you that I'm debating. I'm not taking away from your guy Tom. I think he is a great player, and I think that he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not debating with you on that. What I am saying is I think there are other guys out there who we could easily argue and say it's like the whole
Put
debate
their stats up.
but
Put their
it's the whole
stats up.
debate of the whole MJ and LeBron who's better. I mean, that debate is going to go on for a long time,
I'm gonna
and
tell you
so
right
is
now, it's
Tom
getting
Brady.
close.
And so is Tom Brady. And some are saying that Trevor Lawrence may be the next Tom Brady. Who knows? They're built differently. Who knows? But all I'm saying, I don't deny that your guy's not great. I don't deny that he's Hall of Fame material. I think he's a great quarterback. I just think there's a lot of great quarterbacks. And here's the other side of the coin. It is a hard position to say who is the best of all time. You cannot argue with the rings, and I get that.
Well, I'm not saying that the other guys are not great. You can absolutely say someone is great, but you can say someone else is better. We can do that all day long. Like right now, Giannis is a great player in the NBA, but there's no question LeBron is better. LeBron is the best player in the NBA right now. That is beyond question right now.
Okay, let's transition this since we're going to have this debate on better and best, and you and I can talk about this or blue in the face. But for our listeners, let's talk about this right here. So we've got the Eagles right now who are looking to get the same package that Matthew Stafford just got, or they just got for LA out of Detroit, and they're hoping that they get the same pool for a guy who has not been the same since off of injury. Is Matthew Stafford better than Carson Wentz? And should he get the same deal? Should Philadelphia be holding out for the same deal that Detroit got?
All right. There's no question that the quarterback carousel this year is absolutely crazy. In my personal opinion, it is not close that Stafford is better than Wentz. It is not close. Stafford has had one season where he was unbelievable. He was pushing the conversation for MVP. Uh, you can't argue with the stats that he was putting up that year. But since then, he's messed up his knee, he's broke his back, he's broke his brain, and he's broke his own spirit. So far, is what I've seen. So he can't stay healthy. Whereas Matthew Stafford has played through a UCL tear, back injuries, shoulder injuries. I mean, he's playing through it all on the crappiest of teams. Wentz was playing on a team that won a Super Bowl without him, but he got them to the point where they were in the playoffs, but they won it with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Stafford has played with trash year after year after year and has put up amazing stats considering where he was. When he had a Calvin Johnson, they were good, but the team just completely inept. They couldn't build a complete roster. They just had those two guys, and that was it. But I do not believe that Wentz is anywhere close to being what Stafford is currently. I do not believe that they should be able to get anything close to what basically LA gave up to get him. I mean, LA gave up a hefty sum when you consider they
For
gave
a
up.
good quarterback.
Right.
I mean, if I'm Jared, I'm fuming. Like I'm
Right. Oh,
like, are you
absolutely. I hope.
serious?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I hope he
So
comes out
they
and has an MVP season up in Detroit.
right they get a starting caliber quarterback who just had his team in the Super Bowl just a couple years ago, fairly
Yep.
close. Okay.
Great leader on the field. Teammates
Right.
love him. Yep.
Supposedly there are rumors that supposedly he got lazy in LA, took things for granted, and that's why Sean McVay wanted him out. He wanted somebody that was going to work, but they gave up a starting caliber quarterback, probably a top 15 quarterback in the league with Goff, two first round picks and a third. That's what they gave up. How are you going to get that for a guy that was benched for a second round rookie this year? There's no way you're going to get that. There's no way. The most interesting trade mentioned that I even saw, I don't know why. I mean, I know why they would do it. Was the Bears?
Yeah.
This was a rumor out there that the Bears were looking to send back Nick Foles, a first round pick, and Tariq Cohen.
Cohen. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I don't know the specifics of Foles' contract at this point. I know it's probably a decent amount because when he signed that contract with the Jags, it was like a 4-year, 80 some odd $1 million contract. So he's got 2 years left on that deal, I
One
believe.
or two. One or two. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a rental. You got a rental player for your backup. If this is truly the trade that is out there, I'm not 100% sure why the Eagles haven't done it. Aside from the fact that if they do trade Wentz, it's like $60 million of dead cap space. That's rough. You're trying to build a team. You might as well go ahead and admit that you're tanking this year.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. If you got $60 million dead cap, but they haven't been able to get the running back position great. Miles Sanders is okay, but they haven't been able to get anything. If Tariq Cohen is healthy, he's an unbelievable player. He would be like a throwback to Darren Sproles when they had him, a small, super shifty, speedy guy who can catch well. Foles, he's a rental player. That's all he is. He's a rental player. The fans love him.
Who
And
plays unbelievably well in Philly
Philadelphia
for some reason. Nowhere
Right.
else, but in
Right.
Philly, he could play.
The Philly special. Okay. He is the Philly special.
There it is right there.
And then you can get a first round pick. You're starting over. You're bringing in a decent running back. You're bringing in a rental quarterback, and you got a first rounder. You're starting over. Just
And
do
you
it.
got your quarterback. I mean, because they're pretty much,
Jalen Hurts is your guy.
Yeah, I mean they've already. I mean, if you're getting rid of this guy, I mean you're going
saying
Jalen.
Hurts is yeah.
And I think if you're in the GM room, and I think this is the question. You and I are not there, but here's the reality of the conversations right now. There is a quarterback carousel that is about to release. There are rumors about Teddy Bridgewater. There's rumors about Mitch Trubisky. There's rumors about Deshaun Watson. What's going to happen there? Houston is, I'm saying as the world turns in Houston.
Oh, it is such a drama. Yes. We're going to talk. We need to talk about that.
We've got, and we're not going to go there yet, but we've got the rumor out today about is Russell Wilson on the trading block, and people are asking about that. So you've got these four quarterbacks.
No, but don't forget about your team. Will they keep Carr or will they get rid of this used Carr? Yeah. Do they keep Mariota?
And I think you got 4 or 5 quarterbacks. So if you're sitting at a GM, I think you've got Carolina, you've got Houston, you've got Chicago, you've got Philadelphia, you've got Oakland, you've got all these teams
San Francisco.
waiting to see what San Francisco. I think is going to be all in a Garoppolo. I think they're kind
You're
of staying.
serious?
I think they're going to stay there with that. But what I'm
Wow.
saying is here is they're all kind of waiting. And here's my thing: I don't know that I'm waiting on the Deshaun Watson or the Russell Wilson. I'm going to getting what I can now.
Well,
You know, but I get the
you
whole
gotta
idea of
you
waiting.
gotta call and find out what the cost is. What are you willing to say?
If Matthew Stafford just got that haul,
Right.
I can't imagine what team out there has has what they what the Seattle Seahawks would be looking for or what Houston be looking for Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. I
Okay,
have
if Matthew Stafford got a starting quarterback and 2 first round picks, that is the let's just go ahead and say that's the bar.
yep.
That is the bar, and that is the if you bring anything less than this to the table, and I'll actually go ahead and say that that's actually not even the bar. That's not even close. The bar actually would probably for a Russell Wilson and Sean Watson. We're talking a starting quarterback. Even if it's just a rental quarterback, I need a starting quarterback or a top tier player, and I need a minimum of 3 first round picks. RG3 years ago, when the Redskins traded up to get him, it cost 3 first round picks to get RG3. A 32-year-old quarterback getting traded from Detroit to LA got 2 first round picks. A 25-year-old Deshaun Watson, I think, is worth a minimum of 4 first rounders and a starting caliber player right now.
And
Russell
is
Wilson,
yes.
maybe Russell's getting closer. He's kind of to that middle to upper tier of his career at this point. He's in his early 30s. He's probably closer to the Stafford area as far as trade. I think he's probably where it is, but Deshaun's worth more just because of his age, what he meant to the city, what he was in the locker room. You ever heard of him being a problem before this year?
Is he worth the first round pick?
Is Deshaun Watson worth how many?
This year's first round pick, Trevor
And
Lawrence.
and how many more than that?
I don't
Oh,
know. I'm just saying in general. Like if
so this is the conversation. Okay, so you're asking if you're Jacksonville, do you trade for Deshaun Watson, who's been in the league what
five,
5 years, or do you gamble and take Trevor Lawrence? Me personally, I trade. Me personally, right now, I trade and I go get Deshaun Watson and bring him in because I know what he is. There have been many guys who are extremely talented. Look at the draft the year with Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf.
mm,
Ryan Leaf was actually projected to do better, and he couldn't hack. He didn't hack
yeah.
it, and he's out of the league. He's actually helping people right now with substance abuse. God bless him. I'm glad to hear he's doing that. But think about that. The Colts got one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. The Chargers got a guy who was out of the league very quickly. I'm not saying that Trevor Lawrence is a head case. I'm not saying that. All intentions, or not all indications, I should say, are that he's a great character guy. He's a hard worker and he's extremely talented. But none of that means that you're going to stay healthy. None of it means that you're going to be unbelievable when you get there, that you're going to click with your OC, you're going to click with your receivers, or that you're going to have even remotely a good offensive line, anything close to what you had at Clemson. But if you can get a Deshaun Watson, shouldn't you do that?
And that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, this is not being floated out there, but here's where I'm at in this whole thing. And if I'm Urban Meyer and his staff, I'm going, man, we pretty much came back to try to build build a dynasty around this kid. But how many times have we seen the Clevelands and the Cincinnatis and possibly the Jaguars chew up great talent and ruin careers?
Or just miss flat out on picks like Blake Bortles?
I'm just saying in general.
Yep.
Yeah, Jacksonville, they tanked and they got the first pick in the draft, and they're going to get a guy that is phenomenal. We know Trevor is a big dude. He's got an arm strength. He can run. He is one of the best all around players we've seen a lot of times in draft. No doubt about it. But what else do you have in Jacksonville? Because that culture has been being blown up the last couple of seasons. So what are you about to walk into? And
Yep.
granted, if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm a little concerned here. If I'm in the back of my mind, I know he's a great character guy, but I don't know if I've got my pick. Do I want to go to Houston or Jacksonville? Because Houston, they're blowing up the culture as well right now. So
Yeah.
I say all that to say there's going to be some interesting dialogue to our original question. If I'm in Philly right now, I'm taking what's on the table. I'm not waiting because I need to move on. I need to build my team. I need to
You need
build
to
the
change your
culture.
culture.
and
Yep.
it's time to do that. And I think the longer I wait, the longer this saga goes on. Carson Wentz was a Philly favorite. He has come out and said, "I want out." You
Yep.
know as well as I do that I do not like guys doing this. I know that we agree to disagree on this right here. I believe when you sign a contract, you give it your all. When that contract is up, then if the team trades you, that's one thing. But be a person of your word, honor your contract. I know it's tough for a lot of people out there because if the team does you wrong, like you can debate all that. I get it, but
I was
yeah,
itching
I
to
know, I know, I know.
I was itching to when you said
But
be a man of your word, and I'm
yeah,
going,
yeah,
but they
yeah, yeah,
signed
yeah.
that
But
contract
these
too.
guys, these guys that go sign, like we, you go and you sign a $1.8 million contract just to get in the league, right? You
Yep.
have a phenomenal season, and the next thing you're going, I'm worth 25 million, and I demand it, or I'm walking out. Come on now, come on now. That's the
Come
stuff.
on, son.
That's the stuff that always, because how many guys do that? They demand it, they get 25 million, and they go back and they play a
We're
six hundred
just we're gonna
thousand
have
dollar
this
contract
we're gonna
somewhere.
have this debate
So,
for
well, yeah,
eternity,
yeah, yeah.
because
So
then the team can come to him and pull a Belichick special and say, we like you,
you
but
take
you
a pay cut.
suck. Take a
Yeah,
pay cut, and
yeah,
either you take a pay cut or you're out the door. So that
yeah, yeah.
situation goes back and forth. But no,
I get
they
you.
the Eagles do need to they need to change the environment. They need to go
Yeah.
ahead and do it. I think if that Bears trade is real, they need to make that trade. The Bears need to make that trade. Let's just be
And,
honest. The
and you and I are
Bears
Mitch
need
guys
something new.
too. Yeah,
I
yeah.
look, I love Trubisky. He was a Tar Heel. I love him for it, but he has not done well in Chicago. Trubisky could use a new start. He could use somebody to come in there and build him up.
I
Matt,
like him in Carolina.
what, the Panthers?
Yes,
But
I
they
do.
have a quarterback. So are you? They still have $40 million locked up in Bridgewater. I know
But
that it's
Bridgewater's on the chop. I mean, he's being shopped around as well. I'm just saying
he's a
that.
but he's a bridge quarterback.
Right. I'm just saying that I'm throwing out there as a conversational piece for next time that I like. I agree with you. I think
Well,
Mitch
I
needs.
want to put that on the poll. Who's
Yeah,
a better quarterback? I'm gonna pull a
Mitch or Bridgewater.
yeah. I want to know who's better.
I
Trubinsky.
think it
Let's
goes
put
back
it
to
on
the
the poll.
system. I think it goes back to the system they're a part of. We see this all the time. You put a Mitch Trubisky probably in New England, he'll do better.
Well, that's everybody thought that about Cam Newton.
No, if
Well,
everybody thought that, he would have got a better contract than he did,
I
guaranteed.
I'm gonna tell you, I am still I'm stuck on this quarterback stuff, but I am dumbfounded the conversations that I've seen on ESPN, and I don't know if that's just sticking up for your friend or what it is, but the amount of former players and current players that were upset about Cam Newton's contract, upset about how New England used him, upset about how he needs to go somewhere else to rehab his career. Why do you think that anything's going to change? He is what he is. Is he a talented runner? Absolutely. Can he throw the ball? 100 yards. Can he
Yeah.
throw it to the guy he's supposed to throw it to? No.
Let's say that. Let's say there's a transition because we got some of those. Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl in Tampa helps the dialogue framing Cam Newton in New England right now.
What do you mean by that?
That it's time to get Cam out of New England.
Oh, do it.
By
I'm
Tom
begging
Brady
you.
winning that. But I'm saying,
I'm
because now all
begging.
the talk is about Belichick and is he, what I'm saying? So that's almost saying, is it helped that whole headline out?
I'm
Yeah.
as a Patriots diehard fan, I am begging Bill to let that Joker walk. Let him go.
All right, so say this real quick. Say this real quick. Who should New England, real quick, 30 seconds or less, quarterback, who should they go after?
Deshaun Watson. We don't have enough to do it, but I want him to go after Deshaun Watson. I said it on the last episode. Sell every first round pick from here to eternity because we can't draft him anyway. Let's get Superman and bring him up here because the last one had nothing but kryptonite in his legs. But I just no. I know that we can't get Deshaun Watson. We'll never be able to afford Russell Wilson, which we need to talk about that. But I don't know. I think that they're drafting at 15. Odds are most of the quarterbacks are going to be gone, so they can either take a flyer on Mac Jones or they can get a rental player in a Trubinsky. That type of player, maybe a Marcus Mariota has been floated out there. I could see that. I mean, I'm telling you, it's floated. Hey, if anything, I'd tell Bill to get on the phone, call Chucky out there in Las Vegas, and say, "How much do you want for Carr? How much? What's? Just go out there and kick the tires. That's all I'm saying. Kick the tires. See what happens. Play on words. Can't help it. But hey, just that's just my opinion as a Patriots fan. We need to do something different. We need an actual quarterback. I don't think that if you're going to do a Lamar Jackson type situation, which is what I think they were hoping to do, you got to have a guy who can throw better, and you definitely got to get him some skilled people around him. We don't have a tight end. We don't have any receivers. We got to do a lot of work. We're about to lose our best guard. I mean, that's just the situation New England's in. What they are completely rebuilding. Hey, just to further carry us down the quarterback carousel. So this came out yesterday or day before, where Russell Wilson's people started floating out there that Russell was not happy. So like his trainer, his chef, all these people were putting out there that Russell was not happy with how he was being handled in Seattle, his O line, these type of situations. He was unhappy with how it looks, how many hits he's taking, and things like that. He has then come out on the Dan Patrick show, and Dan Patrick asked him about it, and he said, I would like a little more say so in the building of the team and the things that are happening around him, and the hits that he's taking, he's not a big fan of. So then the report is the Seattle management is not happy with him. So if you are the Seattle Seahawks and you're hearing this, you blew up the Legion of Boom, you got rid of some people, and you did all of this to be able to pay Russell what he was worth. Now you've paid him. He has played phenomenally, but the rest of your team sucks. You've done rental players that haven't been able to work. Do you trade Russell or do you try to fix it?
Hypothetically, if I could get Deshaun,
Hypothetically.
if I can get Deshaun Watson, and to me, the only piece out there that Houston is even going to be interested in getting a caliber, if they can get the number one pick, I'm going to dangle the idea of Deshaun for Russell Wilson and some draft picks. Okay,
Yeah.
do I now?
Who,
If I'm
who's sending the draft picks?
Seattle would be.
But Seattle doesn't. I mean, yeah, I
Not
agree with.
many, not many, because
Yeah,
you got those are two both that it's a pretty close straight. Like to me, there's not
it's
a
just
lot.
age. Age is the.
Yeah, yeah. But what I'm saying is, hypothetically, is this: if I'm Seattle, the truth is, I think it's all rumor. I think that
But he confirmed it.
right,
He confirmed it
right.
himself.
But I think Russell Wilson has stayed quiet for so long in Seattle, and he's earned the right to say it. What he said and how he said it was not disrespectful. He spoke on the facts that he was hit like 300 plus times. The next quarterback was he spoke facts. And so you can call it recruiting other guys up there. You can call it coaching from the sidelines. He didn't say anything disrespectful to his coach or to his people, other than I hope that they'll give me a voice at the table. And he's earned that right and proven that right in Seattle. He's not a Mitch Trubisky in Chicago who's blowing out, his rear end because he hasn't earned the right. Russell Wilson has been a high character guy who's been faithful to Seattle, who's a proven winner, who handled it very respectfully, didn't call out names, just said, I want a seat around the table. If I'm Seattle management, I'm doing what I can to keep him. It's not like you're in Houston where the management stunk and they, with the McNair family, there wasn't communication. Unless I can dangle it and get a first round draft pick or get the number one pick in Trevor Lawrence or I get Deshaun Watson, I'm fixing it. It doesn't sound like there's much to fix it. He's not Deshaun, demanding a trade. He's not Carson Wentz demanding a trade. He said, let me just have a voice in who we're going after. That's it. That's
Now,
all he said. I've taken a beating. Every statistician knows he's taken a beating.
but do you think that is scaring owners and general managers alike? Because we're now seeing um, more and more players pushing for that. I'm not trying to make it about color or anything else like that, but we're starting to see more people push for say so in the team. I think LeBron has shown the rest of the world, sports world, that if you're the star, you should have somewhat of a say so in how your team is built. And when you do and is built the right way, then you can win. Deshaun Watson has asked for this. He was asking who if he could have a say so as to who should be there as far as GM, as far as who the coach should be. Now, Russell is stating that he wants to have some say so as to how the roster's put together. Is this putting fear into owners and general managers?
I think any successful GM or leader or coach does this or should be doing this. And if you're a coach listening to this, call me and I'll help you out with this. You should be at every practice, every sideline, or every chance you get, or once a week, with all of your players on your team. Hey, what do you see? How's the schemes running? What did you see that last game? That's why they all break up and go to coaching room. That's why you got 30 coaches on staff, because you
Right.
break it down. And so there should be a culture of communication all the time. Russell, what are you seeing? What are you feeling? If you're not having that dialogue, you're a bad leader. And having that dialogue with them, in a sense, they're giving you the buy-in, they're giving you the opinion. And if you hear 10 opinions out of 20 times the same opinion, then maybe I need to rethink my schemes. Maybe I need to rethink what I was coaching about because my guys aren't on board with this, or there's something else going. At least doesn't have to give into it. It just means maybe I need to rethink this thing a little bit because for whatever reason, we were focusing on tight ends when half the team is saying we need an O line.
Right.
You know, and I think that's the same thing. I don't think Russell Wilson is going, I want A, B, C, and D. He's saying, I just want to have a voice. I want to
Right.
have influence. He's not LeBron who's pulling strings behind the scenes, telling, I'm not going to say telling guys that be called tampering to hold out and ride the
No,
bench.
he
I'm not
doesn't
saying
do
that.
that. He
He
gets he
doesn't
gets
do
his
that.
agent to do that because he's the
Right.
agent for all these other
Right.
players.
But yet we got guys like Harden and Durant saying, yeah, we had text messages saying it'd be cool to play together. Players can do that, but coaches can't. It's the weirdest thing. But whatever. I don't think it's scaring Seattle. I think that Russell handled the right way. I think that he's trying to say, hey guys. Now I will say this. I do think that if they don't somehow have a conversation with him, then I think you're going to see him demand a trade. But he is kind of like that kid who's like, hey mom, dad, I need some attention over here. I'm your
Mhm.
guy, and if you don't give it that attention, that kid ends up acting out. you know. But Russell Wilson has been nothing but a man of character and led his team, served his team, been a great role model for that city. He's a proven winner. I think you sit around the table, you talk. You don't have to give in to demands, and he's not asking for demands. So
I was just curious what
yeah,
your thought was
yeah.
because I know that's becoming a thing. All right, just to close out, because the big news today, this Friday, was that J.J. Watt requested, furthering this drama in Houston as the world turns for Houston. J.J. Watt requested a release. Um, I think it's interesting that he requested it. I know it's been a rumor all off season that they were probably going to do the release anyway. He's not the same player he was when he won like defensive MVP from like 2012 to 15. He's a few years older. He's been nicked up. He did play the full season this year, but this saves the Texans $17.5 million. Do you think it was a good move for the Texans to let him go because he requested it and because it saves him so much money?
You might as well. If you're in Houston right now, you are the laughing stock of the NFL, and you are on every front page of the paper right now. What are you doing in Houston? And for
They've
some
they've
reason,
become the Browns.
yeah, I mean they have the drama there, the Rockets. I mean the Astros. I mean, it has not been a good year for Texas sports teams. Dallas, I know it's not Houston, but I'm just saying, it's just been a rough year for that sports market over there. May they rest in peace. I saw one meme the other day that the NFL said we're going to move all Super Bowls to Dallas, so that way nobody no longer has home field
There's no
advantage.
home games.
Yeah,
Yes, I
so
saw
so I saw that. I
that.
was like, oh my goodness
I need to
gracious,
tell that to
you know,
James. He's a
yeah,
huge
um,
Cowboys fan.
I think if you're Houston, you're selling the farm and you got to start over.
Yeah, you got to blow it up.
Yeah, Watt has been a figure piece out there for a while. He's not been happy out there. You and I talked before we came on the air today, before we started recording. I would love to see him up in Pittsburgh with his brother, and I think that'd be two great linebackers. That would be, or two great
He's
defensive
not a
positions. Not
linebacker, but yeah.
linebacker. I know. I was.
I think his other
Yeah,
brother might be there too.
yeah. His other one is yeah, and I think that'd be great to have the Watt brothers together. You got the defensive line there.
Or does he go home? Does he go home to Wisconsin and play for the Packers? I mean, that's a thought. Just putting
Yeah,
it out there. He has a chance to possibly go play with his brothers. I don't know if he's ever been able to do that at the same time. Now they're a few years apart. He has a chance to play with his brothers. He could go home, or he could go be a mercenary to an extent and go to a team that's close to winning a championship. I don't know. What if he were to go play beside Aaron Donald for the Rams? You've got possibly a starting caliber quarterback there. What about the Bucks if they lose
can
Vita?
you imagine the family conversations around the table if he plays next to Aaron Donald for Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah,
And and the whole debate was, hey, just so you know, my brother should have won this.
yeah, absolutely. I'm just saying, you're at the point. He's at the point in his career where he should go. In my opinion, I like the idea of playing with his brothers and all that. That's cool. But at the same time, he's at the point in his career where he does not have much left.
And that's what he said. I mean, I've been in this thing for 10 years and it's time. I don't,
He
we
needs to
saw
go
that.
somewhere where
Yeah.
he has a chance to win
Yeah.
instantly. And in my personal opinion, Pittsburgh is not that place.
No, no.
Roethlisberger's not Roethlisberger anymore. Their roster's not perfect anymore. So I think he needs to find
Here's the two teams he ends up going to. You ready? I'm calling.
okay, besides Pittsburgh.
No.
You're skipping
Green.
Pittsburgh now?
Yeah. It's either going to be Green Bay
Uh-huh.
or Tampa Bay is going to figure out a way to bring him into town.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. That's what I was wondering. If they can't keep Ndamukong Suh or they can't keep
Yeah.
Shaq Barrett, is this the route they go? They get a veteran, or does he sign for a low cost? Does he take a pay cut to say, hey, I want to win a ring?
Yeah.
That's what you see guys do. They get to a point where they start ring chasing, and I have no problem with it. I really don't. You get to a point where you've made a ton of money and you've made some plays and you've won some MVPs and all, or whatever you've done, but you don't have that one ring that you really want. This is how you do it.
Just have dignity and pride and buy it off eBay.
Well, sadly, they're for sale. They're for sale all the time. Guys can't handle their money, and not that I'm great at it myself, but we're hoping they do better. All right, so that's what's going on in the world of the NFL right now. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Another great week of us debating. We'll be on hopefully next week and be able to do some more, have some fun, and at some point I'm going to bust Chris's chops for all of the wrong picks that he made coming into the NFL season and eventually the NBA season. But mine are probably wrong too. All right, tell the people bye, Chris.
All right, man. God bless you guys. Great to be with you.